Hey, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money, and just a few moments ago, we had an episode. We was talking about how the government wants to take away snacks and sodas from the food stamp roster, and we just talked about that. And here's another. This is not a similar topic. It's the government cracking down, but I want to talk about this, and this is in the state of Florida. If for y'all who wants to know about this, and if you not from the state of Florida, if you want to weigh in, you can weigh in as well. It has now come to my attention, and they already started, that Governor Ron DeSantis, who is the governor of the state of Florida, wants to start investigating the money budget and the money spending of every county in the state of Florida. They just did Broward County, which is a county down here in South Florida, because there's three counties down here. There's Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade County. And they just did Broward County, and they were supposed to be doing, I think, Jacksonville next. And he wants to start conducting random, investigation of county spending, how the county is spending their money, like the spending budget. And he wants to start cracking in on that. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on? It's like your mother and your father give you a bank card at the age, or a credit card at the age of 13 and 14 or 16, and they say, hey, you can go buy some stuff, but we're going to be monitoring what you spend. And this is basically what Ron DeSantis is doing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This may not be similar to the food stamp situation that we just did an episode with moments ago, but it is the government is trying to. It's like the government saying, we're giving you $10,000, but we want to see where this $10,000 is being spent at. And I'm like, are you serious? If the federal government, which is basically beyond Ron DeSantis's control, or if the Florida Department of Transportation or the Department of Transportation or whatever, if they grant money to South Florida transportation systems, whether it's the Miami-Dade Transit, Broward County Transit, or Palm Tran, which is Palm Beach Transit, and they say, oh, we're going to each give y'all $10,000 towards transit. Now you have the right to go and say, let's see where they're spending this money at in transit. Let's see where the money going in. Let's see where they're spending the money. Let's see where the educational money going to. They're giving you $10,000 towards school. Let's see where the $10,000 is going at. I mean, in a way, I understand, but I don't understand. Because I understand, yes, like I've seen in several, like it's a Medea play that actually, talk about this, but they don't talk about that. It talks about how if a man is paying child support, he should be able to see the receipts on what he's paying for his child. Because a lot of these women that get child support, they go, like, say for instance, a man is paying $400 of child support a month, and and your child is only 1 year old. I want to see where this $400 is going to, because a man should be able to see, is this money actually going to child support, or is the woman spending it on herself, You want to know, actually, are you buying the baby diapers? Are you buying the baby? Because, baby diapers and baby clothes, it don't cost you no more than $100. You don't spend more than $100 on an actual baby. Now, $400, yeah, you probably spend that much on a teenager. Yeah, because a teenager, they need clothes, they need shoes, they need school supplies, and stuff like that. So yeah, but $400 for a 1-year-old, I want to see what you buying for a 1-year-old and that I gotta pay $400 a month. So I get why they're doing that, because they're like, hey, yo, we're gonna give you $10,000 for this, but I want to see the receipts on where this money's going at. But at the same time, that's making it look like, I think they spending their money in frivolous, and they doing something with their money. let's tap into, and this is not just one county, this is every county in the state of Florida. I will understand if you're saying we're investigating um, Orange County, because Orange County is a county um, in Central Florida that Orlando, Universal Studios, and stuff like that. But like we'll understand if they say there's been word that they're spending money on frivolous stuff, and their money is going to other things that it's not. That's supposed to be transportation money, but that money is being spent otherwise. Let's investigate. I would see you do stuff like that, but you're basically saying every county in the state of Florida is being investigated on their going down, and they're doing a money budget investigation basically, where they're trying to find out how you're spending your money, and where your money going and all this stuff. And I'm sitting up here like, so Ron DeSantis is all about daddies and mommies for all of these mayors and commissioners, and now he has to make sure that we're spending the money over. I mean, in a way I get it, but in a way I don't need somebody watching over me as I press this button to say, okay, I'm going to pass into law that we're going to get $10,000 for transportation. But now he wants to see receipts on where all of this money going there for transportation, or they're giving me $20,000 for education, but now I want to see, is this $20,000 actually going to these schools and stuff like that? Are you buying books? Are you buying this? Are you buying that? And I'm like, dude, are you my daddy? Dude, are you my guardian angel? I mean, not my guardian angel, but my guardian or parent? Like, are you my aunt or uncle that takes care of me? Like, what are you doing? And to me, I feel like this is another government shakedown, because basically you're shaking down the people by saying we're going to take away potato chips and sodas and potato chips and Coca-Cola from your eating out of your mouth. Now we want to go to the counties and go to the mayors of these counties and say, hey, let's see what your spending budget was for 2024. Let's see how much money you spent in 2024, on everything. Let's see how much money you spent on transportation. Let's see how much money you spent on public schools. Let's see how much money you spent on housing. Let's see how much money you spent on, community events and all of this stuff. Because, I think you're spending too much money on all of these things. A lot of these, parks, they have free services. Like my mom, she goes to a park every day because they have a sewing class that she goes to. Because, I told you in previous episode, my mom makes handkerchiefs. And they have a sewing class out there. And at this facility, they also have free, they have a free gym for like the locals to come and work out. And then they also have, a exercising program for the senior citizens, out there to exercise and stuff like that. Because, if you've seen it in some of my episodes at certain parks, they have outside exercising equipment, them exercise equipment. And a lot of senior citizens, they use that stuff. And these are free services. And to provide these free services, the government or the county has to pay out to maintain these buildings, the electricity, the waters, and they also have a kitchen in there, because my mom says sometimes they be having birthday parties for these elderly women, and they be having food, and then they have a recreational hall where you can do a party and stuff like that. And out of these people, this is free services. They offer free services. They have these signs at the parks where, hey, we have free aerobics for the senior citizens, or we have free exercising class for the senior citizens, or we have free after school care for the kids. And what is paying for this? The county is paying for this. So now you got the governor saying, you're spending $5,000 on after school programs? No, we're going to cut that bill. Or you're spending $10,000 on, programs at these parks? No, that's too much money. We're going to cut it and have. So now, by them monitoring the spending of money in these counties, you're going to probably start putting a chopping block to certain services, because you're going to feel like they don't need this in here, or they don't need that here. That's costing too much money, and we're dishing out too much money. So now we're going to cut this service and that service and that service and that service. Because the part that my mom goes to, I've never heard of a sewing class, that free sewing class. And I was like, that is good. And then I don't know if they pay the actual teacher, because my mom said when she first started going, she was only going 3 days out of the week, and then now she goes every day, Monday through Friday. And they say they did have a teacher, but the teacher, I think she passed away. The teacher that they used to have, and now they got another teacher. I don't know if they pay the teacher to actually do the sewing class, because my mom goes there and it's free. And I don't know I don't know if the teacher volunteers to do it or not. But even so, you have to have these services up and running for these people, And if you come in and say, I don't want no sewing class in this park, why there's a sewing class for? And they wipe the service out, because a lot of these parks, they have services, or they have classes or things like that for the elderly people to do. They have senior citizen classes, they have exercise classes, they have a lot of these programs, and it's free of service to a lot of these people, because a lot of these senior citizens, like my mom, they can't afford $20 a week, or $30 or $40, or they can't spend $50 or $100 a month for these services, because they're on a fixed income. Some of these people live, they only get Social Security to rely on. And yeah, you got some people that do got cushion money, but at the same time, some of these people are, hey, I can't afford, I'm gonna stop coming to the park if you're gonna charge me a whole lot of money just to come to the park. The park is supposed to have free services and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll buy, a cake or something like that if you have like a birthday party for Miss Johnson or for Bob or something like that. But I'm not gonna pay $50 to come exercise at the park when exercise is supposed to be for free at the park. In that case, I'll just go walk around the park 2 and 3 times, and that's my exercise. So it's basically, you're saying that you want to monitor the money spending, and you want to see where the money is going. So now that makes me think that you want to start want to do budget cuts. Because when people stay like that's just like going and you're the superintendent and you're saying, we're going to give $10,000 to each school, but for each school we want to see them where the money's going. And at the end of the year, for every school, I want a budget report to see what all the money that you spent on this school. What this $10,000 go? Did it go for new uniforms for the football team? Did it go to remodeling the classrooms, or did it go to new equipment in the school? What did these $10,000 go to? I want to see receipts. And that's basically what Ron DeSantis is basically trying to say. I don't know what he's trying to say in his defense of what he's trying to do, but in my defense, in my opinion, I honestly believe this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to monitor the money spending and that these counties are doing, and their budgets. And I'm like, dude, you do realize by monitoring that, now you're trying to say that every county in the state of Florida is spending too much money, and now you want to cut corners and cut costs and cut services to a lot of these counties, because you don't think that some of these fundings need to. And I'm like, dude, if you cut services to a lot of senior citizens, which y'all trying to do anyway, because y'all trying to cut Medicaid and food stamps and all of that, dude, why now you're trying to cut services from these counties? Because a lot of these, because with taxes, our taxes pay for these services. We pay to keep these parks open. We pay for a lot of these services that goes on. Because here in Miami, there's a 7% sales tax. It was 6.5 at one point, but now we have a 7% sales tax, because we have a half penny transportation tax, which is for every penny you spend, half of that penny goes to transportation, which I like, because now that gives us more money in transit revenue, to where now we can enhance our transit system. And we passed that law about 20 years ago. We passed that law. Broward just passed a law maybe maybe 2 years ago, because Broward tried to do the same thing a few years back, and the law didn't get passed because a lot of people voted against it, and then they reissued the law into the ballot, and a lot of people passed it. And now Broward has a half penny transportation tax as well too, because the money that for every penny you spend, half of that penny goes to transportation. And now you're going to sit up here and say, I want to see the transportation bill. You get you get $20 million a year on transportation. Well, I'm not saying you're getting 20 million. Let's say you get $50,000 a year on transportation, on the transportation tax. Where is this $50,000 going to? Let me see what the receipts are. And I'm like, so you want to see what they're doing with transportation money? You want to see what they're doing with the education money? Because our taxes that we pay for, it goes towards the services we need. We're paying to keep the parks open. We paying the police salaries because you don't pay for police services, you know. So we gotta pay for that. When you call 911 and say you need a police and the police come out to you, they don't give you. They don't say, okay, here's the bill for our services. No, you pay for their services out of taxes. You know, they give you a ticket, and yeah, you pay the ticket, and sometimes that ticket does pay for the policeman's, you know, salary and pay for the police services. But if you don't get a ticket, you know, those services come out of our pocket. Now you do and pay for ambulance service, because one time I did need ambulance service and you do pay for it, but sometimes you don't pay for it. They don't, sometimes they don't send you a bill. You could go to they can come to your house and something happened to you, and then they'll, but if you have insurance, you know, they pay. But sometimes you don't. But you know, I'm not worried about the ambulance and stuff like that. But there are services that we pay for. Like I said, we pay for park services because the park is free. You know, you can go play on the playground for free, and our taxes pay for that. Our taxes pay for the police because we don't pay. We, you know, you've seen several TV shows and several, you know, movies and stuff that say, I pay your bills, I pay your salary, you know, because our taxes pay for, they, you know, pay for police services, you know. And you have a lot of these services that they offer to senior citizens, and a lot of these services they offer in different counties and cities, to where, you know, our taxes pay for it. But when we pay them taxes, you know, now you want to know where that money going to. And I'm like, so let's say you have a 7% sales tax, and each year you make over $1 million in sales tax alone in your city. Now the governor wants to see where that $1 million is going to. I mean, I'm quite sure it's more than $1 million, because every day everybody's paying tax. Whether you're buying groceries, you're buying consumer products, or whatever, you're paying a tax. So it's probably over $1 million a day or $1 million a month or whatever. But out of that $1 million, the governor want to say, I want to see where this money is being spent to. How much money is going to the police department? How much money is going to the hospitals? How much money is going to school? I kind of get it and I kind of understand it, but at the same time, it's basically you're saying, y'all spending too much goddamn money on stuff. I need to see what y'all spending money on. And it's not that you're doing like one county, like, it's not that you're saying, oh, it's not like, oh, Broward County is spending $1 million on frivolous stuff. We need to go and investigate their spending budget. You're doing every county in the state of Florida. It's basically, you're doing a takedown over money spending in the state of Florida. Because I understand there are, you know, where, you know how a lot of these city officials and county officials that work in the county and work in the cities, they be misusing the money and they be stealing money from the county to buy stuff and stuff like that. Remember back in COVID when people was getting the PPP loans, and a lot of them wasn't, you know, and they were spending it on lavish cars and stuff like that for themselves, and PPP was, you know, protection for the workers, and a lot of them was getting PPP loans and they was spending it on lavish cars and all that stuff. You know, I get stuff like that. You know, you know, like you got these city officials, or I'm a city office manager and I handle the money, the funding for the parks and stuff like that. And I'm the park funding manager, you know, for the city of Miami, and I manage how much money go, and then you be like, oh, I'm gonna take $200 or $300 from here and put it in my account and blah blah blah. Yeah, I get that, you know, you investigate stuff like that, but it's like you're investigating the whole state of Florida, and you're thinking all the counties are actually, you know, and they're doing them in sections, and I'm like, to me this sounds sketchy. I understand if you're doing maybe a county, because one city or one county, because you think that they're you know, laundering money, you know, because I remember I told you when I went to a school, back then I went to a college, I went to a technical school, and the technical school, they was laundering money. Some of the people that they was, the money that they was getting from, you know, from financial aid and stuff like that, a lot of them officials, they was pocketing that money. The owner of the school was pocketing that money, and they did a FBI investigation, and they shut down the school. And I get that. I get if you're doing that, but you're not doing it just for one county. You're not saying, oh, Duval County, which is the county in Jacksonville, or you're not saying, oh, Orange County, which is the county in Orlando. Oh, they got $10 million grant, and I want to see where this money going to. No, you're doing every county in the state of Florida, and that makes me think that you don't trust these counties with your money. If I'm dishing out money to these counties, I want to see what. And it would be fine if you're just doing, like, if you're investigating like one county. Like if you say, oh, Miami-Dade County got $10 million. I want to see where this money going at. Let me show me the receipts. I don't want to see nobody pocketing in this money, or I don't want to see a city official taking hundreds and thousands of money from this $10 million and they putting it in their bank account and they buying lavish things and paying their bills and stuff like that. I don't want to see that. I understand that. But in reality, you're not just doing one city or one county. You're doing every county in the state of Florida. So now you're guest checking all of these counties to say, I want to make sure that if I give you $10 million towards whatever, you're going to spend that $10 million. Or if I give you $10,000, or if I give you $20,000 or $30,000 towards this, I want to see that it's going towards this. And I want to keep, and I'm like, dude, you can't really show every receipt of what you're doing. And I think that's basically what he's trying to do for every county. And I kind of get it, but I don't approve of it. Because I kind of get it if you was doing it like maybe your office say, Governor, we just got word that Miami-Dade County maybe just got a $10,000 grant and it didn't go to the public schools. We need to go down there and investigate. Okay, let's send the team down there and investigate. That I agree. But we're going to say, I want to start investigating the budget spending for every county because I want to know where the money's going at. For every county? Dude, you just spent a whole bunch of money building that little crap called Alligator Alcatraz that is not safe for hurricanes, not safe for people to live in because they're living in tents and in trailers. And then you spent thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe millions and billions of dollars to build a immigration camp out in the woods, but you now want to come and investigate the spending of these counties after you just spent billions of dollars. They need to investigate Ron DeSantis on what he's spending money on, because you just spent a billion of dollars on, and then they said the government really didn't approve of Alligator Alcatraz. And I'm like, you just trying to impress Donald Trump and get on his good side. Oh, Donald Trump, I built the immigration camp, so now I can get the immigration people and blah, blah, blah. And, oh, I want you to be happy that I built this immigration camp. So you can spend a lot of money on some BS immigration camp, but now these counties don't have the right to spend whatever they want because you want to spot check what they're spending. What is wrong with this country? What is wrong with this government? Come on, dude. I'm a grown man in my 40s. What do I need somebody? That's like me at 40 years old. My mama's still checking my bank account to see what I'm spending my money on. I'm grown. That's like me at 40 years old. I'm leaving out of the house and I'm going somewhere, and I still got to call my mama to say, hey, I'm leaving to go to the club, or I'm leaving to go here. I'm a grown ass man. So I'm the mayor of this county, and I still got to report to the governor to say, Governor, here's what I've been spending my money on. Are you serious? I understand we have to get budget reports and all of that stuff to people and things like that, and make, have receipts to make accountable for that this money is actually going here, because you do have city officials and people that work for the county that do be laundering money and stuff like that and all that. So I get that. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to come down to every freaking county and investigate every county. Yeah, we know that some of that money been mismanaged in certain departments. The money to go to park, somebody probably been mismanaging, because I've seen several, news reports where they had a guy or a woman that works for the county or works for the school board or something like that that's been, stealing money from the school board, taking hundreds and thousands of dollars and spending it. Like I said, they did the PPP loan and people was getting the PPP loan and buying lavish cars and clothes and nice jewelry and stuff like that. I get that, but then now it's like you're doing every county, and it's like you're saying, I don't trust nobody in the state of Florida in spending money, so I'm going to wipe this all out and see how much money they're spending in the state of Florida for every county and see what they're spending their money on. Dude, that's just like saying you don't like your own state and spending money. You want them to spend money on what you're spending. Now, you allow them to spend money on Alligator Alcatraz and spend money on that, but you want to allow them to spend money on keeping kids from not being hungry and taking food out of their mouths like potato chips and soda. I get home at 3 o'clock from school, I can't have a bag of potato chips because it's not on the food stamp roster. So now I gotta starve until mommy and daddy get home with food. But you rather build an immigration camp for immigration that I've been told that they're in poor conditions because it rains, and you've seen it, that it rains out there and you're in the middle of nowhere and you got to live in these unsafe tents, you got to live in these unsafe trailers, and when a hurricane hit, well, one blow, even in a category 1, you can wipe all of that away. And I'm like, you spent billions of dollars on that, and now you got to want to see, what do y'all think about this? Because to me, it is disgusting. Like, I understand when you investigate one company or you investigate one county because there was rumors about their laundering money and, misuse and mishandling of the money. I get that. But for you to go through every county in the state of Florida and say you need to investigate the budget spending and all of that, like, what did we do? Did every report from every county in the state of Florida came back saying that they misused their money? I'm quite sure there are counties out there in the state of Florida that uses their money and use it for proper use. You got a lot of these counties that got small cities, in the northern part of Florida. I have a friend that stays in Little Havana. I mean, not Little Havana. It's called Havana, Florida, which is a predominantly all black city in the northern part of Florida. I have a friend that stays in Jacksonville. I have several, friends that, probably live in the other parts and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, a lot of these small towns are part of a county, and a lot of these counties, Miami-Dade is a big county, Broward is a big county, Palm Beach is a big county, so I understand if you want to investigate these big counties and stuff like that to where you want to investigate where the money going at, but dude, you want to investigate every freaking county in the state of Florida, and I'm like, why? What do you think that we're doing out here wrong? Not every county in the state of Florida is being fraudulent, but you want to build a big whole immigration camp out there in the woods and spend a whole bunch of money that nobody approved of just so you can impress the press. What do y'all think about this? Do y'all think that that he was right for doing this, or do you think he's wrong for doing this? For me, he's wrong for doing this. Because you're not just investigating one county, you're investigating the whole state of Florida, every county in the state of Florida, from Miami-Dade, Miami-Dade County, Duval County, Orange County, Alachua County, Broward County, Palm Beach County, Monroe County, and all of these places. And I'm sitting up here like every county got to be investigated on their money spending. What's going on? You want to see where all their money going to? You want to see what the spending budget is. So if you see something fraudulent, you're going to start asking questions, and then you're going to start cutting funding. Because that's basically what it looks like. Oh, why are we getting $10,000 for parks? That's too much money. Let's cut that in half. Like I said earlier. So I want to know what y'all think about this. Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Let me know what y'all think about this. Because this is another government takedown, and I'm sick of the government changes and the government takedown. Because first you're trying to take away Medicaid for senior citizens and stuff like that. Then you're trying to cut food stamps to where basically nobody gets food stamps. Then you're trying to cut potato chips and sodas from the food stamp roster, so now kids can't have something to eat. And now you're trying to investigate our money spending in our city officials and county officials. So what do y'all think about this? Comment at the bottom of this page. You can comment at the bottom of this page. You can also email me, roundtable00@yahoo.com. Let me know what y'all think about this, because this is disgusting to me. And every day there's always some new law coming out that's really disgusting. And I thank y'all for watching this. I'm finna go grab me a bag of chips before they start cutting food stamps, even though I don't use food stamps, but still, I'm gonna go grab me a bag of chips. But thank y'all for watching this. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and please buy your kids some chips before they start cutting these food stamps and start cutting these services. And make sure that you get services for your kids before they start cutting them, because pretty soon a lot of these services, due to the government, crackdown, we ain't gonna have services. We don't have food stamps, and we ain't gonna have food stamps. We ain't gonna have after school care or none of this stuff, because the government is taking away our livelihood. But I thank y'all for watching, and see you in the next episode of Roundtable Talk. Take care.